I did not quite follow or understand.
Not a Pax Americana.
In Africa, Bollywood enjoys significant popularity. Yet, they are not the true stars. The real stars are two-wheelers. Similar to India, where chai and chaos hold rule, smaller bikes and scooters have become the road warriors of Africa. Not only they are often more affordable than cars, making them accessible to a larger portion of the population. And why not? Your trusty Splendor bike, for instance, is highly maneuverable enough to navigate through tough traffic. They are also
Different.
Moreover, who wouldn't want to ride a three-wheeler auto? Even American diplomats loved it, having their own auto for work. The fact is, Africans love their Indian rides, and this affinity didn't happen overnight. Indian companies worked tirelessly, day and night, to conquer the African market. So, you might be wondering, how did India pull off this two-wheeled conquest in Africa, leaving Chinese bikes in the dust? Why did Africans give a metaphorical finger to Chinese bikes? Let's rewind to the early 2000s, when the African bike market turned into a battleground for China, India, and Japan. Africa was like a motorcycle arena, and Japan and China rolled in guns blazing. The reason India failed was its inability to deliver bikes to potential customers in the early days of the launch. Japan brought in these high-end bikes, sleek and shiny, but let's be real, everyone wanted them, but not everyone could afford it. Then there were the Chinese bikes, the budget-friendly option. They came in with price tags so low, often selling for a fraction of the price of their Japanese or Indian counterparts, so, naturally, Chinese bikes started taking over the block. But here's the thing, the Chinese forgot the golden rule.
Remember the motto? With great power comes great responsibility. When
you hold the power of maximum market share, the responsibility for a reliable product becomes paramount. Unfortunately for India, China failed miserably in this regard, and Africans weren't about to let it slide. Those Chinese bikes that flooded the market turned out to be unreliable for the challenging terrains of African roads, with parts breaking down at critical moments. To make matters worse, Chinese companies failed to provide adequate after-sales service and repair support. And navigating the challenges of importing two-wheelers into African markets can be a bit tricky, and the absence of complete service support often leaves these imported rides in a tough spot, with no spare parts in sight, putting a damper on their road life. It's not just about selling bikes, it's about creating a lasting relationship with riders. These Chinese motorcycle brands assemble their bikes back in their home country, only to ship them off to Africa, all polished and ready for action. Sure, over time, China set up repair centers. But guess what? The cost of fixing those bikes started to skyrocket. It didn't take long for the whole setup to feel more like a financial tightrope walk than a sustainable business model. The Chinese motorcycles had a bit of a mismatch for Africa, lacking range and struggling with heavy loads, and attempts to engage with manufacturers for design and production changes proved futile. Then, here comes India. Indian two-wheeler companies weren't just in it for the sales, they took a practical approach, realizing that what worked at home could work wonders in Africa. They made some tweaks, listened to what African riders needed, and delivered bikes that were like the perfect fit for them. Indians wanted bikes that were affordable, fuel-efficient, and could handle the maze of Indian roads. And guess what? Africans wanted the same things. Rakesh Sharma, the former executive director of Bajaj Auto, spilled the beans on their game plan. Indian companies made substantial investments in setting up assembly plants, distribution networks, and after-sales services. Investing significant effort in training local mechanics to become pros who know the ins and outs of Bajaj's two-wheelers. Training programs were like quick courses in why Bajaj's bikes were the real deal compared to their Chinese counterparts. What's impressive is how they played the local card right. Leveraging local talent, they became a part of the African landscape, not just visitors. The result? Bajaj and TVS now hold more than 50% of the two-wheeler market in Africa. Now both companies are eyeing more growth. TVS Motors, that's been in Africa for 2 decades, have mastered the art of building multi-utility two-wheelers, equipped with fuel-efficient engines and robust suspensions, to tackle whatever the terrain throws at them. They took it a step further, by setting up assembly plants, through local partnerships, in key countries like Kenya, Uganda, and Nigeria. These collaborations weren't just about assembling bikes, they created local hubs, generating jobs and entrepreneurial opportunities for nearly 1 million locals. And then, there's their response to the pandemic: masks, sanitization, and food support. All their service center heroes were trained to take precautions and share maintenance tips, making sure the wheels keep turning, pandemic or not. But the real game changer is customization. Indian manufacturers, TVS Motor included, tailor their products for the African market. Each region's unique needs are met with thoughtful features. For instance, in power shortage-hit markets, TVS Motor adds USB charging ports, because emergencies shouldn't mean a dead phone too. So, trust, affordability, fuel efficiency, and suitability, that's what Indian companies like Bajaj and TVS are offering to their African riders. Another reason why Africans prefer Indian motorbikes is because they prioritize them for business rather than private ownership. For them, bikes are not just personal rides, but business tools. In Africa, unconventional modes of public transport, like vans and minibuses, are the go-to. Most two-wheelers pull double duty as boda-boda, ambulance taxis, and general runabouts, so customers are on the lookout for products that can go the distance, literally. And guess who's delivering on that front? The Indians. Two-wheelers are stepping into the public transport spotlight. The need for swift conveyance, coupled with the excellent maneuverability offered by these products across diverse landscapes, has made them the unsung heroes of the African streets. Easy two-wheeler financing and the surge in imports from Asian manufacturers have fueled this trend. The African auto market's steady growth isn't just a fluke, it's backed by factors like increasing employment, better urban infrastructure, and the knack of Asian manufacturers to supply cost-efficient vehicles that are not just low maintenance, but also offer impressive mileage. In countries like Kenya, Nigeria, and Tanzania, Indian two-wheeler brands are becoming the stars of the show. Kenya, in particular, is experiencing a growth spurt, thanks to the government's nod, tax waivers for both motorcycle imports and local assembly plants. Now, it's come to a point where an Indian EV company, One Electric Motorcycles, is making waves by manufacturing Africa's first electric motorcycle. It's like the stage is set for Indian motorbikes to take the lead in Africa's dynamic transportation scene.